Doug, you had mentioned earlier that there are some pages or some programs or blogs that you've gone to, you play around for a little bit, and then and you walk away. Do you recommend that for the first timers, for those who are just starting out, that they actually literally just go and
Yes, because you never quite know what's going to become the next Facebook. That doesn't mean you spend a lot of time there. It means you go, Quora is sort of like that. I sort of went over and engaged with Quora a little bit, and then my usage just sort of dropped off. I still check it every so often because it has yet to grab me. Doesn't mean it never will. Perhaps it never will. We don't really know. But by the virtue of visiting it and seeing what it is, I'm just more aware of what's out there. Like, it's sort of like being at the cutting edge. And again, don't spend a lot of time on it. The biggest advantage to doing that, though, really, is you get to reserve your name. Yeah. I try now to reserve Douglas Welch, all one word, as my username on all these different sites. And because I find them so early in the process, it's very rare that I can't get my name.
I'm going to make it now my life's mission.
Yes, thank you. I have three alternatives I can use to get around you. So there.
We had another question from...
Actually, this was my question from before. Earlier, I guess, when the panelists were just sharing, there was a question like, why are people so resistant, or what are people afraid of? Okay, so when I talk to people I know who even refuse to be on Facebook, it is for security, Big Brother reasons. Just like, people I know who believe, and there is documentation that when you're on the phone, the government can hear any word they want to that you're saying, and supposedly there is that can go on with Yahoo or Facebook, where if the government comes in, they have the authority to be able to just, see exactly what's going on, who you are, where you are, what you're saying, and use that against you. And myself, as an hardcore environmentalist, and I've worked in like holistic nutrition, where if you suggest like taking these herbs or nutritional things to prevent cancer, you could literally be arrested for practicing medicine without a license, or so the government is watching Big Brother thing. For a lot of people I know is a huge factor. And so I just want to hear like what you have to say, because I know you can be selective and protect yourself, but then truly you're also saying be authentic. And I cannot be authentic if I'm concerned about who's watching me and if I'm going to be called an eco-terrorist.
Don't use it.
Well,
don't use it. If there are certain people that just will make the personal decision not to do it, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm using it. I'm just talking about people I've spoken with, and I'm just careful.
If they are that fearful, their best option is to not use it and not even consider it, and just say it's done, and don't worry about it. It's under your control to make the decision what you do and do not do in your life. Yeah. That's what happens a lot of times. People make that decision and then they feel bad about it.
See, I'm surprised that you're saying to stay off the grid. I would have thought one of you.
If you are that fearful.
Oh well, you're not that fearful. You're not gonna.
But she might be talking about a really extreme example. But when she boils down to it, when we are passionate about certain stuff, that can be a red flag for not just the government.
Yeah. I have a joke that most of us are not nearly interesting enough for the government to worry about. So
but people have
right. Most of us. But I think
I can relate to what you're saying, because you've heard of people saying that if you hear keywords, bomb, terrorist, this, that, it's like being on a plane and saying the wrong word, and the marshal tracks you down, tackles you down. So
I think that's personally, I think it's an overblown worry driven a lot by the media.
Okay. I agree with that. This is all about a mindset. When somebody, and this is not uncommon when I hear something like what you're saying, and I'll go, interesting, where else is that in your life? What can I do to help you? What can I do to help you shift that fear? Because why, if they walk around with kind of in a bubble, perhaps, I would agree with Doug. It's like, well, then don't use it. If you're in that much fear.
But what's going to happen is that they're going to find themselves, again, out of touch, behind the curve, not able to I mean, I deal with job seekers like that who just flatly refuse to even get an email address. Yeah. And it's like, I'm sorry, then how do you expect to get a job?
Because you can't submit.
You
for
can't
most
submit
jobs,
anything without an email address.
But that's not to say you can't do it. Yeah. There are people these days who live off the grid, and there's a certain proportion of people in the world that will do that. And honestly, that's fine. Don't feel guilty about it, though.
Folks, this has been awesome and wonderful, but I'm looking at the timeline. I think we should take one more question.
I think I have one more question.
Someone new who hasn't asked a question, perhaps?
No, they're all scared of us now.
Sounds good. Or one final comment from anyone in the audience?
If that's the case, and I'd like to give you guys an opportunity to kind of close out and say something, but I want to ask you guys one last question.
No.
Each of you, when you guys close out, what do you think of the new Facebook?
I haven't got it yet, so I can't comment.
I particularly like the needing to approve photo tagging.
Yes.
I think that's really.
Now, do you mean new? Today's new?
Today's.
That's old new.
That's old. That's 2 days. That's 2 days new.
That's like a week old.
I had something that came out today with the dog hearing, the people that you interact with most and stuff like that. So, but I do like the photo tagging change, and I do like that you can choose, which would be helpful for you. I was going to say, particularly, you can really, really choose now. I mean, you can set your privacy settings, but you can also really choose every single post you put up. You can determine whether it's public, only your friends, or just certain friends, and then you can hand select them. So
like over on Google Plus.
But that's the competition. They're being smart. I'm the same with Susan. I like the fact that I can pick whose stuff I want to see without having to, go through and bother with the hidden thing. I can say, oh, that's our top story, and let the algorithm push it down to the bottom. And people who I'm more interested with, they can always be at the top. So it really is giving you more flexibility and power of choice.
I
don't have a problem with either. I like anything online that helps me sort through the fire hose of information that's coming through my life. I actually like. They recently added the smart groups. I was already doing that manually anyway, and Google Plus works under that whole concept of smart groups. So definitely, again, I haven't seen the new interface because I don't know why they haven't turned me on yet. But I'm not as dyed in the wool as some Facebook users.
Marla?
I agree with all of you. And I think for the first time, Facebook made changes that we wanted, not what they thought we wanted, right? Because it all falls in line with everything how I use it and how I coach it. But I'll tell you one thing too that I'm really excited is they're no longer sending you tons of notifications. You're now getting like top stories, I think, of those most.
They're going to do summaries now.
They're going to do summaries, so you're not going to get a notification thing right in your email box and have to worry about all those settings. So I'm really happy for probably the first time of all the changes. I think they're terrific. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. One thing I would like for each of our panelists to do, for the benefit of those in the audience and those who will be seeing this podcast in a later time, would each of you, starting with Susan, would you please share your website address, how people can contact you, and in a nutshell, 2-sentence, what it is you do and why they should be contacting you.
So basically, I work with 3 kinds of people. I work with people who want to transition from corporate slave to solopreneur. I also work with established solopreneurs who want to expand their monetization, and I work with creative artists who want to learn how to create a brand and start doing more direct-to-fan-based marketing and building their communities that way. My website is escapehatcher.com. My Twitter handle is @escapehatcher. I also have a blog, escapehatcher.com/blog. And I have a special report that is just coming. If you want to, I have a sign-up list out front. If you join my mailing list, there's a special report that I'm just putting out called 7 Dream-Killing Excuses Why You Haven't Created Your Dream Biz and How to Navigate Those. So you can get that free as well. And I was actually not working with clients over the summer because I have a beautiful little newly adopted daughter. Aww. So I was playing mommy all summer, and I'm just now starting to take clients again. So if any of you have interest in talking to me, I always give a free consultation mini consult to kind of see if we're a good match and so forth, or if you know people that fit those categories. I would really appreciate it.
And can I piggyback on that for a second? I highly recommend all of you, if there's something of value here, you guys want to have more information, talk to these people afterwards. Get on the email list, set up a one-on-one if necessary, or an email or a phone call. But take advantage of the expertise for sure.
Jennifer?
I blog at asthegirlturns.wordpress.com, but it's not only my blog, it's also the link to all my other lives. My Examiner page, I write on Faith and Community for Examiner.com. Tuesdays with Transitioners, which is my job-seeking group. And it's not just for 9-to-5ers, it's also for people who are wanting to transition into a solopreneur career or become an independent contractor. You know, they don't want to be a corporate slave anymore. And so that's where you can find my links and all the information. And we are also doing a career camp, both of us, Career Camp International, in San Fernando Valley right here on Saturday. So you're more than welcome to come out for that. You'll get this as well as a lot more.
Doug?
You can find out everything that I do, and it's quite varied. So I set up one page, DouglasEWelch.com. You'll find links there to everything I do, including my weekly career column and podcast called Career Opportunities. You'll find links to the Career Camp International websites. I also write about new media. I'm also a computer consultant, and I also write about gardening. So when I say varied, I do mean varied, but you'll find links to everything there, including my social media accounts and everything else.
Douglas E. Welch, so that's two of your names.
Douglas Welch and Douglas E. Welch.
Quiet you.
And Marla?
That's great. Okay, my website is ecreativebiz.com, ecreativebiz.com. And my market, those that I work with, are entrepreneurs that really want to define, an authentic personal brand and monetize it on social media. How do you really build those communities? And you can find me on Facebook under Marla Dennis, and I have a fan page called Social Media Savvy with Marla Dennis. That's my fan page. And I just, hot off the press, I just created, as I mentioned earlier, this is an e-guide. It's a 30-page e-guide that literally gets you started on a personal brand. It gives you strategies, it gives you mindset, it gives you inspiration. And it's normally $47, and tonight for all of you it's $34.99. And I have sheets out there on the table where you can fill out your information if you're interested in purchasing one. It's chock full of content. Typically, my coaching is, in the hundreds or a couple $1,000s worth. You get this for $35. And you can also sign up for my monthly e-zine that I send out, which is marketing tips and such.
And Colton, how can they find out about you? I don't know if you know about Colton. I read about him at the beginning, and he's in insurance at New York Life. So if someone were interested in what you have to offer, how could they get in touch with you?
While I'm on Facebook, unfortunately, first off, if you Google Colton Stenke, there's only one.
There's only one.
That is my answer.
No, that's my third name, Colton Stenke.
And yeah, I invite all of you to say hi to me on either LinkedIn or Facebook, Colton Stenke.
And for me, I am known as the Oracle, so you can reach me at my website, theoraclespeaks.info. And what I am, he read a little bit, I sing, act, and dance, but I help people, I show people how to feel good about themselves. That's one of my claim to fame, is that I make people feel good about themselves. You had a question?
Where did the name The Oracle come from?
The Oracle was given to me because someone in my camp recognized that everywhere I went, I seemed to bring a smile, not only to a person's face, but to their spirit and their heart. Even the most downtrodden people, having one of those really bad days, and just a word or a touch or just my being in their presence helped them. And what he recognized is that I always seemed to say exactly what the person needed to hear. Good, bad, and or indifferent. Sometimes the truth isn't always a nice thing. You might not always want, but for whatever it was worth, I always said exactly what people needed to hear. So he recommended, he says, you're just like an oracle. And it stuck. And then they did exactly what you were recommending, Marla. They branded me. Everything. In my writings, my speaking engagements, because I do motivational speaking as well. I speak almost predominantly to females and just young adults at risk, that kind of thing. I do writing workshops. I was once a school teacher for 25 years. Teaching English and a bunch of other stuff, performing arts. So, but yes, that's why I'm known as the Oracle. I have an uncanny ability to say exactly what people need to hear.
And if you want to find out more about her, go to my Examiner page. There's a full profile on her.
Just to end on a little bit of administrivia, the audio and video of this will be available on the Social Media in Your Career blog. And as soon as I can get it together and get it up, please tell your friends if they weren't able to attend tonight. And let me reiterate, if you are available this weekend, please tell your friends and come yourself to Career Camp San Fernando Valley to be held at this exact same spot. It's an unconference dedicated to building the career that you deserve.